It's Thursday, December 13. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. Montego Bay Mayor Homer Davis has expressed dismay and disappointment at the parliamentary opposition's vote against the continuation of the state of public emergency in St. James. Mr. Davis is quoted by the Jamaica Gleaner saying, "My position is that the people are in shock and disbelief and are very disappointed in the way in which the opposition voted against the SOE. Today is a dark day in the parish of St. James." End quote. During Tuesday night's marathon debate in Parliament about extending the SOE in St. James, St. Catherine North and sections of the corporate area, the government failed to get a 2/3 majority for an additional 90 days. The opposition was adamant that the enhanced security measure was not in the best interest of the country and its citizens.
The issue that we face today is whether the extension of a state of emergency is the most effective approach to the problem that we face. And let us note that with the initial declaration, we supported it. It's now almost 1 year since the first declaration.
However, both government and opposition members voted to extend the zone of special operations in Mount Salem, St. James, and the West Kingston community of Denham Town. Residents of one of the communities currently under a state of emergency are fearing the worst, with the anti-crime measure set to end in coming weeks following the decision by parliamentary opposition to withdraw support. Statements of disappointment have come from various groups as the Andrew Holness administration assesses the implementations and implications of the states of emergency in St. James and St. Catherine North Police Divisions and sections of the corporate area ending next month. The parliamentary opposition on Tuesday night voted against resolutions for the security measures to continue. The Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, JCC, has said it is disappointed at the opposition's decision to vote against the continuation of the state of emergency. The Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce has also added its voice to calls for the state of emergency in St. James to continue. The chamber said the measure should not be lifted without a suitable replacement. Norman Scott, chairman of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation, has said he is happy that the opposition voted against an extension of the states of emergency. According to RJR News, Mr. Scott said the state of emergency has been too costly to businesses in St. Catherine. The lack of an articulated crime plan from the government is one of the rationale put forward by the opposition for not voting to extend the state of emergencies in St. James, Kingston, and St. Catherine North Police Division. Opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips made the argument in the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
We asked for a general path to be set out so that we could have a buy-in. The so-called crime plan. We are told there is a plan, but only after the events do we know aircrafts were purchased. This was part of the plan. That's we were seeking. Well, maybe not. That's the point. We're saying that if there is a road map set out, not only you and us, but indeed the entire body of well-thinking people can buy into that plan and know where we're going.
For his part, Prime Minister Andrew Holness countered this argument.
As I stand here, I take the criticisms very seriously about the lack of a crime plan. And I am always tempted to go out and divulge the plan. But then I remember the letter written to me by a little, I think she was a 5-year-old girl. Like, all of them said, don't tell them the plan, Prime Minister, because then the criminal will know. If a 5-year-old can say that, Mr. Speaker, why can't the leader of the opposition do that?
People's National Party councillors in the St. James Municipal Corporation are expressing support for the vote of the parliamentary opposition not to support any further extensions of the state of emergency in the parish. In a statement Wednesday, the councillors said they welcomed the overall situation of crime reduction that has been achieved under the SOE during the course of the year. The councillors said, quote, "However, we are deeply concerned that of the 3,687 detained in inhumane conditions up to October 30, only 4% have been charged." End quote. The councillors say they also support the PMP's vote in Parliament to extend the Zozo in Mount Salem community. President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Dennis Morrison, is hoping that the court will reach its full complement in less than 2 years. Morrison made the declaration while speaking at the official opening of the newly expanded Court of Appeal building in downtown Kingston Wednesday morning. He pointed out that 3 judges have been identified by the Judicial Service Commission for recommendation to the Governor General to be appointed as Court of Appeal judges come 2019. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck, who was also at the ceremony, said that the new facility will provide a comfortable space for all users of the court. He further said that with the increased capacity, the court should be able to deliver justice more efficiently. The expansion of the Court of Appeal building, which began in April, saw a section of the property which once housed the offices of the Accountant General's Department being transformed into 3 new courtrooms, 14 judges' chambers, a library, 3 judges' lounges, and an expanded registry. The project was undertaken at a cost of $846 million. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government will be providing funds in the second supplementary estimates for the 2018-2019 financial year to improve the physical condition of lockups. He made the disclosure during the sitting of the House of Representatives on Tuesday at Gordon House. The move follows the Prime Minister's tour of lockups and detention centers in Kingston, St. Catherine and St. James on December 8 to get a first-hand look at the facilities and the systems in place. Mr. Holness visited the Denham Town Forward Operating Base, the Tamarind Farm Detention Facility and the Twickenham Park Detainee Processing Facility before visiting the Freeport lockup. China is ready to work with Jamaica and other regional countries to promote connectivity in the areas of policy, infrastructure, trade, production capacity, finance, and people-to-people connections. This disclosure was made by China's President Xi Jinping in an address entitled "Look Beyond the Horizon and Steer the World Economy in the Right Direction." Ambassador of the People's Republic of China in Jamaica notes that China will continue to deepen market-oriented reform, strengthen intellectual property rights protection, logistics, infrastructure, encourage fair competition, and expand imports. The second Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation will be hosted by China in April of next year. The China International Import Expo will be held annually as a way to further open up its economy. In regional news, in trying to make sure that Jamaica and 5 other Caribbean community nations are not lagging behind socially and economically by 2040, the Inter-American Development Bank's Caribbean Country Department has published a roadmap in the form of a book titled "Nurturing Institutions for a Resilient Caribbean." The publication, which was launched on Monday at IDB's office in St. Andrew, places great emphasis on institutions that govern and impact the rule of law, politics, economics, as well as human capital development, like education and health. These areas have been identified as being in need of improvement as the region looks forward to becoming sustainable and resilient by 2040. The other 5 countries are the Bahamas, Barbados, Guyana, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago. According to General Manager of IDB's Caribbean Country Department, Therese Turner-Jones, the region currently has a good story. However, growth is occurring much too slowly compared to other regions in the world. In sports, Alia Atkinson, who finished as a runner-up on 3 consecutive occasions in 2012, 2014 and 2016, finally got it right in the 50-meter breaststroke, clocking a moderate 29.05 seconds for a victory at the 14th FINA World Swimming Championships in Hangzhou in China's eastern Zhejiang province yesterday. Atkinson, who holds the world record of 28.56 seconds, was 0.33 seconds ahead of longtime rival Ruta Melitite at 29.38 seconds of Lithuania, and Martina Carao, who finished third in a new Italian record of 29.59 seconds. And that's the news on PBCJ. My name is Simone Absalom. Pleasant viewing.